Life has an uncanny way of ensuring that everything falls into its rightful place. Divine justice operates universally, whether or not we recognize it in the moment. Every action we take and every choice we make carries consequences that ripple through our lives and the lives of those around us. When people undervalue you, mistreat you, or take you for granted, it may feel unfair, even devastating. However, one thing remains certain: life has a way of addressing these imbalances, often in ways far beyond our understanding. When you are wronged, it's tempting to retaliate or demand immediate recognition. Yet more often than not, the greatest vindication comes not from confrontation, but from stepping back and allowing life to unfold. Time has a way of revealing the truth. Those who fail to honor your worth or dismiss your contributions eventually face the consequences of their choices. This is not about revenge, but rather about the natural order of things, an unseen system of justice that ensures people reap what they sow. Consider this: every individual is uniquely gifted with talents, abilities, and qualities that make them irreplaceable in their purpose. When someone disregards those gifts or fails to appreciate their value, they are not simply mistreating you, they are disrupting their own potential for growth and success. It's like removing a vital piece from a machine. It may still run for a while, but eventually the absence of that piece will cause it to falter. The beauty of this principle is that it doesn't require your intervention. Your energy is better spent focusing on your growth and purpose than on trying to correct those who fail to see your worth. When you continue to move forward with grace and integrity, you position yourself for opportunities that align with your value. In doing so, you allow life to handle the situations you leave behind. The spaces that took you for granted will have to face the challenges created by your absence. History and personal experience are filled with examples of this principle. Think about people who were overlooked in their careers only to rise to positions of influence in new environments. Think about relationships where one partner was undervalued only for their departure to leave an irreplaceable void. These are not coincidences, they are the manifestation of life's justice at work. Those who mistreat others often discover too late the impact of their actions. However, divine justice is not merely about punishment. It's also about transformation. When you are replaced, it is not just a moment of reckoning for those who undervalued you, it is also an opportunity for your growth. What may seem like a loss in the short term often turns out to be a promotion in the grander scheme of things. You are not losing, you are being repositioned for greater opportunities that are better suited to your purpose and potential. This process requires faith and patience. It can be hard to see the bigger picture when you are in the midst of disappointment or rejection. But trust that every setback is setting you up for a comeback. Life is always moving you toward where you are meant to be, even when the path is not immediately clear. In the end, divine justice is a reminder that your value is never diminished by others' inability to see it. You are not defined by their actions or perceptions. Instead, you are defined by your ability to rise above, to continue forward, and to trust that life has a plan far greater than the challenges you face. So when you are undervalued or mistreated, take heart. You don't need to fight for recognition or validation. Life will handle that for you. And in the end, your replacement will be their karma, while your growth will be your reward. Each of us is born with a unique purpose, a specific role that only we can fulfill in this vast tapestry of life. You carry gifts, talents, and qualities that are distinct to you, shaped by your experiences, dreams, and personal journey. This uniqueness is what makes you irreplaceable. When others fail to recognize your value or take you for granted, it does not diminish your worth, it only highlights their inability to see the treasure before them. Imagine a puzzle intricately designed with thousands of pieces. Each piece is essential to completing the picture, and no two pieces are the same. If one piece is missing, the puzzle remains incomplete. Similarly, your role in life is uniquely tailored to your capabilities. When others fail to honor that role, they are not just dismissing you, they are creating a void that cannot be easily filled. But here is the remarkable truth: your purpose is not tied to any one person, place, or situation. It transcends the temporary circumstances of your life. When you are undervalued or removed from a situation, it is not the end of your journey. It is simply a transition, a sign that life is moving you toward a space where your gifts will be fully appreciated and utilized. This truth becomes clear when we observe how life unfolds. Think about moments when someone underestimated you, perhaps in your career, relationships, or community. Maybe they thought you were replaceable or that your contributions didn't matter. Yet, over time, the absence of your presence became evident. The work you did, the love you gave, the energy you brought, these were not things that could simply be replicated by another. The world is full of examples of individuals who were dismissed or overlooked only to rise to greater heights in new environments. Their stories remind us that rejection is not a reflection of inadequacy, it is often a redirection to something better. Life has a way of elevating those who remain true to their purpose, even when others fail to see their worth. It is important to remember that your purpose is deeply rooted in your authenticity. You don't need to conform to the expectations of others or prove your value to those who fail to recognize it. The very things that make you different, the qualities that set you apart, are the keys to fulfilling your unique role. Embrace them, nurture them, and let them guide you forward. When someone undervalues you or tries to replace you, it is not your loss, it is theirs. They may find someone else to fill the role, but it will never be the same. The essence of who you are, your perspective, creativity, and spirit cannot be duplicated. This is not a call to arrogance, but a reminder of the intrinsic value you carry simply by being yourself. At the same time, this understanding calls for grace and humility. Just as you are irreplaceable in your purpose, so too are others in theirs. Recognizing your own worth should inspire you to honor and appreciate the unique contributions of those around you. Together, our individuality creates a dynamic and interconnected world where every person has something valuable to offer. So the next time you feel undervalued or overlooked, hold your head high. Trust that your purpose is not diminished by someone else's failure to see it. Instead, see it as an opportunity to move forward, to seek spaces where your gifts are celebrated, and to continue growing into the fullest expression of yourself. You were not created to fit into someone else's limited perspective of value. You were created to shine in your own way, to make a difference that only you can make. Your unique purpose is irreplaceable, and the world is a better place because of it. There's a profound truth about human nature. Often we don't fully appreciate something until it's gone. Whether it's a person, a moment, or an opportunity, the absence of what was once taken for granted has a way of bringing clarity and perspective. When you are no longer present in a space where your value was overlooked, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. Think about the quiet reliability of a pillar in a building. Day after day, it stands firm, supporting the structure, and because it never fails, it is often unnoticed. But remove that pillar and suddenly its significance is undeniable. The same principle applies to people. When your contributions, presence, and energy go unacknowledged, it's not because they lack value, it's because familiarity can breed complacency. However, when you are no longer there, the gap you leave behind becomes impossible to ignore. In relationships, this truth is especially evident. Consider the times you poured love, support, and understanding into someone's life, only to feel as though it was taken for granted. Perhaps your kindness was met with indifference, or your efforts were assumed to be obligations rather than acts of genuine care. It's only when you step away that the impact of your presence becomes clear. The spaces you filled with warmth and stability are now empty, and the void left behind becomes a mirror reflecting your true worth. This isn't about proving a point or seeking revenge. It's about recognizing the natural way life teaches lessons. Absence has a unique way of amplifying what words often cannot convey. It shifts the focus from what was overlooked to what is now missing, creating an undeniable awareness of the value that was once dismissed. In professional environments, the same principle holds true. Imagine an employee whose dedication and expertise have become the backbone of a team or organization. Over time, their consistent efforts may fade into the background, blending into the routine. But the moment they move on, the gap becomes evident. Deadlines falter, quality diminishes, and the very contributions that were once taken for granted are now sorely missed. This amplification of value through absence is not just a reflection of others' recognition, but also an opportunity for you to affirm your own worth. When you leave a situation where you were undervalued, it's easy to question your significance or wonder if you made the right decision. But as time reveals the void you left behind, it becomes clear that your contributions were far greater than you may have realized. Yet it's important to approach this understanding with humility. The purpose of recognizing the power of absence is not to gloat or revel in others' regret. It's to embrace the truth that your value is inherent, regardless of whether it is acknowledged. The lesson is as much for you as it is for those who overlooked you. Never underestimate the importance of what you bring to the table. This principle also serves as a reminder to appreciate the people, opportunities, and moments in your own life. Just as your absence can amplify your value to others, their absence can do the same for you. Take time to reflect on what and who you might be taking for granted. Gratitude and acknowledgement go a long way in preventing the need for absence to teach its lessons. In the end, absence is a powerful teacher, but it is also a gift. It allows both you and others to see clearly what might have been hidden in plain sight. When you are no longer in a space where you were undervalued, your absence becomes the most eloquent statement of your worth. It's a reminder that what you bring to the world is unique and significant, and even in your absence, your impact endures. Sometimes being replaced feels like rejection. It stings to be cast aside, overlooked, or deemed unnecessary. But what if that moment of loss is actually a turning point, a silent nudge from life pushing you towards something better? Being replaced can often be a promotion in disguise, a chance to move beyond the limits of where you are and step into a future you wouldn't have imagined otherwise. When you are removed from a position, a relationship, or a space where you once invested your time and energy, it can feel like failure. Yet, what feels like an ending is often a redirection. The truth is, not every space can hold the fullness of your potential. Sometimes being replaced is the universe's way of making room for growth you couldn't achieve while staying where you were. Consider this: a seed planted in a small pot will eventually outgrow its container. If it remains confined, its roots will become tangled and its growth will be stunted. But if the seed is transplanted into a larger space, its potential for growth expands dramatically. Similarly, being replaced often removes you from a confined environment and places you in a position where you can flourish. At first, the transition can feel uncomfortable. It's natural to grieve the loss of what was familiar. You might question your value or wonder what you could have done differently to stay where you were. But what if staying wasn't the goal? What if being replaced was necessary to lead you to an opportunity that better aligns with your gifts and aspirations? Life has a way of orchestrating events that may not make sense in the moment, but are perfectly aligned with your journey. When one door closes, another opens often to a space that offers greater possibilities. Being replaced can free you from situations that no longer serve you, even if you weren't aware of it at the time. It's a promotion to a higher purpose, a new chapter that challenges you to grow and stretch in ways the previous one could not. Think about individuals who were let go from jobs they thought were the pinnacle of their careers, only to find themselves stepping into roles that allowed them to thrive in ways they hadn't imagined. Think about relationships that ended painfully, paving the way for connections that were deeper, healthier, and more fulfilling. These stories aren't anomalies, they're reminders that being replaced is not the end, it's often the beginning of something greater. This perspective requires a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing replacement as a loss, see it as an invitation to redefine your path. It's a chance to evaluate your strengths, rediscover your passions, and realign with opportunities that resonate with your true self. When you approach it with resilience and faith, being replaced becomes less about what you've lost and more about what you stand to gain. However, this process also calls for grace. It's easy to harbor resentment toward those who replaced you or the situations that led to your departure. But holding on to bitterness only anchors you to the past. Letting go with dignity and peace allows you to embrace the future with open arms. Remember, your journey is not defined by the decisions of others, it's shaped by your response to those decisions. The beauty of being replaced is that it clears the path for renewal. It forces you to step out of your comfort zone and discover strength and potential you may not have realized you possessed. It reminds you that your worth is not tied to a single role or relationship, but is inherent in who you are. In the grand scheme of life, being replaced is often a divine reset, a moment that pushes you closer to the person you are meant to become. So when you find yourself in a position where you've been replaced, don't see it as a setback. Instead, view it as a promotion to a new chapter filled with possibilities that were waiting for you all along. Life is a series of transitions, each chapter unfolding as a part of a greater story. Change is inevitable, yet it often catches us off guard, especially when it feels like a door is closed before we were ready. Transitions, whether chosen or forced upon us, can be unsettling. However, there is immense power in how we approach them. To embrace transitions gracefully is not just to accept them, but to walk through them with faith, dignity, and an open heart. Graceful transitions begin with acceptance. Change by its very nature can be disruptive. It challenges our routines, disrupts our plans, and pushes us out of our comfort zones. The instinctive response is often resistance, clinging to what feels safe and familiar, even when it no longer serves us. Yet resistance only prolongs the pain of transition. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like or agree with the change. It means acknowledging that it is happening and allowing yourself to move forward with purpose rather than fear. Letting go is another vital part of embracing transitions. It can be one of the hardest things to do, especially when you've invested time, energy, and emotion into a situation. Whether it's leaving a job, ending a relationship, or saying goodbye to a dream that no longer aligns with your path, letting go feels like loss. But holding on too tightly to what was can prevent you from reaching for what could be. Letting go with grace means releasing the past without bitterness or regret, trusting that something greater is ahead. Transitions also provide a unique opportunity for self-discovery and growth. When life moves you from one phase to another, it often reveals aspects of yourself that you hadn't explored before. Change forces you to adapt, to find strength in unfamiliar places, and to cultivate resilience. It's in these moments that you discover your ability to rise above challenges, to redefine your identity, and to reconnect with your purpose. What may feel like a setback can actually be a setup for a breakthrough. Part of navigating transitions gracefully is maintaining an attitude of gratitude. Even when a change feels unwelcome, there is always something to be thankful for. Perhaps it's the lessons you've learned, the people who supported you, or the opportunities that lie ahead. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what you've lost to what you've gained, allowing you to see the blessings in disguise that accompany every transition. Another key to embracing transitions is remaining open to new possibilities. Change often brings uncertainty, and with it, fear of the unknown. But within that uncertainty lies potential new paths, new connections, and new opportunities waiting to be discovered. To move through transitions gracefully, you must be willing to let go of rigid expectations and remain open to the unexpected. Trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should, even if the path looks different from what you envisioned. Graceful transitions also require compassion for others and for yourself. Change can be difficult not only for you, but also for those around you. It's important to navigate these moments with kindness, understanding that everyone processes change differently. And as you show compassion to others, remember to extend the same to yourself. Be patient as you adjust to new circumstances, and don't be afraid to seek support when needed. Ultimately, embracing transitions gracefully is about trusting the process. Life has a way of moving us toward where we are meant to be, even if the journey feels uncertain. Every ending carries the seeds of a new beginning, and every chapter prepares you for what lies ahead. When you approach transitions with courage and an open heart, you allow life to transform you in ways you never thought possible. So when the winds of change blow, don't fight them. Stand tall, let them carry you forward, and trust that they are leading you to a brighter horizon. Embrace the transition not as an ending, but as an invitation to grow, to evolve, and to step into the fullness of your potential. Life often unfolds in ways we don't immediately understand. At times it feels unjust when we face challenges, endure mistreatment, or experience rejection. We question why certain things happen or why fairness seems absent in the moment. However, there is an underlying truth that offers comfort and hope. Life has a way of balancing the scales. Trusting the process of life's justice is about believing that what is right will ultimately prevail, even if the path to that resolution is unclear. Life's justice operates on its own timeline, not ours. This can be frustrating, especially when we feel wronged or overlooked. We want immediate vindication, an acknowledgement of our pain, or a resolution that aligns with our sense of fairness. But the truth is, justice is not always immediate. It unfolds over time, often in ways we don't anticipate. Trusting the process means releasing the need for instant outcomes and allowing life to work in its own rhythm. When someone mistreats you or takes you for granted, it's natural to want to correct the imbalance yourself. But often the most powerful response is no response at all. By focusing on your growth and moving forward, you allow life to handle what you leave behind. The situations, relationships, or opportunities that did not honor your worth will face their consequences, not because of your intervention, but because of the natural order of life. What you put out into the world comes back to you, and this applies to everyone. This principle is not about revenge or bitterness. It's about faith in the inherent fairness of life. When you trust the process, you release the burden of trying to control or force outcomes. You understand that every action has consequences, and that the energy others bring into the world will eventually return to them. Those who sow seeds of kindness, integrity, and respect will reap the rewards of their actions, while those who choose dishonesty or selfishness will face the outcomes of their choices. Trusting the process of life's justice also requires patience. There will be moments when you feel the weight of injustice, wondering if the scales will ever balance. In those moments, it's important to remind yourself that just because you can't see the resolution yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. Like seeds planted in the soil, justice often works quietly beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Trust that the process is unfolding, even when it's not immediately apparent. This trust also calls for a shift in focus. Instead of fixating on what others have done or what they deserve, turn your attention inward. Ask yourself what you can learn from the experience and how you can grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. By focusing on your own journey, you free yourself from the weight of bitterness and open the door to new opportunities. Trusting the process is not passive, it's an active choice to rise above and keep moving forward. Gratitude plays a crucial role in this mindset. Even in the face of adversity, there is always something to be grateful for. Perhaps the injustice you faced taught you resilience, revealed your true supporters, or opened the door to a better path. Gratitude shifts your perspective from one of lack to one of abundance, reminding you that life's justice is not just about balancing the scales, but also about guiding you toward greater growth and fulfillment. Ultimately, trusting the process of life's justice is an act of faith, not blind faith, but a deep-seated belief in the order and balance of life. It's a recognition that every experience, whether good or bad, serves a purpose in shaping who you are and where you're going. When you trust this process, you let go of the need to control outcomes and instead embrace the journey, knowing that everything is working together for your good. So when life feels unfair, when you're tempted to take matters into your own hands, or when you doubt that justice will ever come, remember this life has a way of righting wrongs, of elevating the overlooked, and of balancing the scales. Trust the process, stay true to yourself, and let life's justice unfold in its time.